Hello everyone and welcome to ZP Productions, and today we will be reviewing this thing here. This is the Manfrotto M8 Nitro head, and this is a video fluid head meant for video production. I'm Richard and welcome to ZP Productions, and today we will look at this M8 Nitro head by Manfrotto, 8 being the amount of weight it can maximum load with the counterbalance system. Now, I normally don't do any reviews about tripod heads or video heads. As I said, for video equipment, I don't have much experience, so this is pretty much my first decent level video head, so I can't really compare the higher end one. And for tripod head, I have used a few like the Aka Swiss I reviewed previously, and of course the C-Ray ball here. I also touched before the Markins and the Aka Swiss, but pretty much it. I just wanted to review this head firstly because I can't really find too much in-depth details on how this works, and I'm just interested in really what's the difference between this and a usual tripod head or gear head, and will it actually suffice for the purpose of videography and photography. So one thing about video heads is that they have some differences. Firstly, they have multiple knobs for the various axes, such as one knob and one drag dial for the up-down axis, or should I say the tilt axis, and then one drag and one lock. And there's a lock here. I can see my finger pointing. A lock for the purpose of the pan axis. There is no axis for the horizon leveling, and that is because most video head rely on a ball with a tripod or using the tripod legs to level out the whole system. So they don't have any form to level on the tripod head itself. So this is something that you need to note if you are intending to use a video head for the purpose of photography. Now, as I said, some of the difference of a video head and a tripod head is there are a few. Firstly, they have a loading rail similar to a gimbal, and the reason is because you have to balance the camera on top of it. So you can push forward and push back until it's balanced. We'll talk about the balancing later. Secondly, they have a few dials, as I said, the drag and a lock dial, drag and a lock dial. The reason is the drag purpose is to give you this smooth dragging. See, I'm using a lot of force, but it's not jerky in any way. And that's the purpose of the drag dial. The drag dial allows you to drag the handle, allowing you to give you a nice friction to actually control this. This is very important because you see in a lot of productions or films or even documentary, you see the camera panning without any jerk, and that's because of the drag system on video heads. So the only difference between that and a lot of the cheaper video head is that this head itself, the Manfrotto N8, has a counterbalance system, and this is a continuously balanced one. Most heads, if you actually go and see at the price range, by the way, this is not cheap. This is about 430 USD. I got it at Singapore about 620 Sing or 630 Sing dollars. This is not cheap in any way, and you could probably get many tripod heads at lower prices, especially for ball heads. But for video head itself, this is not cheap nor is it expensive, because easily if you go and see for Sechlett or Vinton, I believe, those heads easily cost maybe twice or 3 times the price of this and provide very similar functions. But of course, they got heavier loading or more robust build. That is something to debate on. I didn't use them before, so I will not comment too much on it. But I do have a very cheap video head in front of me. This is the Manfrotto 501, I think the one that's using now to film me. And that head doesn't have all these bell and whistles. It only has drag for both the pan and the tilt. It doesn't have any funky mechanism like this with the counterbalance system and the double locking dials and what's not. Okay, so one of the nice thing of this head, before I enter into the balancing part, is that it has a lighted leveling bubble. So this is something I found mostly in more expensive tripod heads, or should I say video heads. I noticed more expensive video heads have this function where you press this button here and this thing lights up, allowing you to balance this thing or level this thing in darkness, or should I say near darkness. I did quite some research before I bought this head, partially because the warranty is very long. Secondly, in Singapore, it's easy to find a retailer and distributor, and it's also easy to find the service center, which is Cathay Photos. So, it's easy to repair, easy to get it done. I didn't want to get the other heads because if anything goes wrong, I do not know where to service them. That's my biggest consideration when I got this head. And plus, this is a mid-range head. I didn't want to spend too much on it. Without wasting time, let's talk about its counterbalance system. So, you can see this. I think I can show you a zoom-in picture of this. And this is actually a nitrogen piston. So it is filled with nitro gas. And you can actually turn this thing up and down to actually level, should I say not level? Should I say balance this object? So by turning this up and down, you can actually rise and lower the piston and therefore apply pressure when your item tilts forward or backward. So a counterbalance system purpose is to exactly do that, counterbalance. And if you apply a counterbalance system to no weight, this is what you get. You get like a whiplash. It's a really weird stuff. So it always tries to get into the center. And this being a continuous counterbalance system, unlike the many one out there which is discrete, which is got maybe 0 to 3, 0 to 5. Like the one below this is I think 0 to 3 or 0 to 4. And the one, and like things like bend roll is usually like 0 to 3 or 0 to 4 or 0 to 5. Some higher end one is 0 to 8. So there are many counterbalance systems, but this is continuous in nature. So continuous in nature means that I can actually, based on the weight of my setup, I can really balance it all the way down to 0 kg, which means no counterbalance at all. Let me show you. So now I'm trying to spin it. It's a bit long. Okay, now it's I think at 0. So with no counterbalance, you can see that it just holds it. It doesn't bounce back anymore. So that is something that you note. So this 0 counterbalance. This is good for really light cameras such as, I don't know, RX1 or something. You're using an RX1 on this. It's a bit weird. This is really expensive compared. And RX1 is like, this is like half the price of RX1 and just the head alone. And once you turn it out more, you can actually balance really heavy setups, such as this thing I have here. This is 200mm and R5. Let me show you that. So I believe this the counterbalance is about halfway, and let me show you how that works. Let me loosen the drag here first. So now I'm going to mount my 200mm on it. So like most video head, this has something a quick lock mechanism. So I plug it in and it locks. See, notice it locks already. Of course, you can try to be more secure by pushing it backwards and pulling the trigger, and then you'll be more secure. But now I want to level it. So as I said, this is like a gimbal so there's sliding. You can slide on the head when you loosen it a little. And what you need to do is you need to balance. You need to make sure that it doesn't slide forward and backward too much. So I remember the settings about here, and then once I'm done, I lock this down. So now when this is balanced, I can apply the counterbalance. You can see that this is a bit too much counterbalance. It's actually lashing backwards. So now I need to reduce it. A bit too much still. And this is just nice. So this is the good thing of a continuous balance system where you can really put it in whatever settings you want, use whatever load you want, and really balance it nicely. And you can see now if I'm moving really quickly, see, this is not like a drag or friction system where it impedes the way you do. This is a counterbalance. And when I just want to go here and let it go, it holds there. When I go here, it goes there. So this is very similar to what you see in gimbal systems for super telephoto lenses. It's just that this is using mechanical pushbacks, such as the nitrogen piston here. In other video heads, there is spring, there is fluid, there is rods. There are many ways to do counterbalance, but for the purpose of Manfrotto, they use the nitrogen system for the N8 and N12 heads, and it proves very effective. This setup is 3.4 kg. If you own such a setup, you will know this weight. It's not light in any way, and you can see that it really works. And if you try to tighten this down on a ball head, apply friction, it's really hard to get a precise friction. While with this, it's really good. I mean, if I was to just remove this handle here, but yeah, you can see this is very close to a gimbal system. It's just that it's for video. Now, of course, the most important part of a video is how smooth the drag is. You can see the drag system is really smooth. So this is something that you won't get in very cheap video heads, and for expensive video heads like this, you really get this function. In fact, as I say again, for purpose of video head, this is mid-price. It's not even expensive, but me being a video noob, this is really as good as it gets to me. Really nice and smooth action. I think that I can probably shoot some things without any jerk. In fact, you can see the product video of this thing. I was trying to spin this around to give you a nice Manfrotto turn in, and you can see how smooth the drag system is on this head itself. Really smooth system. That's about it for today's review. Now, one more thing I want to say is that this head is not light. This is like 2.3 kg, so it's not going to be a very light item. I don't foresee somebody will take it out for no good reason, but for 2.3 kg, it is not very heavy. I think gimbals cost or weighs the same as this, and for video heads, this is not heavy at all, because video heads that carry more weight weighs way more. 3-4 kg video heads exist. So pretty much if you are in for a mid-range video head, and or you want to just use it like a gimbal, which you should not. You should buy a proper gimbal. Or you want a head that can do both really smooth birding and of course shoot videos of wildlife. This is probably it. And if not, if you're a videographer, this is probably the head for you. To really sum up, this head is a really nice head. And as I said, I'm not a hardcore videographer. I don't own a lot of expensive head. This is one of my most expensive head I ever used. I can tell you that this is definitely better than the one in front here, the 501, or the few other video heads I used before, which cost all below 200 USD. This is my first one above 200 USD, and I'm very pleased with it. And I went to do research online, and this, most people say that this has one of the better counterbalance system, and as such, I got it, and it really doesn't disappoint me. Look at this. This is so cool, man. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.